Fine, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I hear you good. I got you set up right.
Good. Okay, so what are you up to?
I got a little downtime. It's been the holidays, so I got a little downtime. I actually go back to Fox next week and work Undisputed and the rest of the Fox shows. But got some great news on New Year's that I'm starting my own show with me and Matt Barnes. Shout out to Al Harrington and Viola.
Congrats on
Um,
that.
thank you. Which is something I've been waiting for because I can do it my way. I can give the people. Do similar to what you're doing. Give the people what they want. They want the
Exactly.
real, and I'm excited I get that opportunity.
That's dope. So, I think you guys announced February 1st. Is that like the gold launch date of it?
Yeah, we want to start shooting by the end of this month and release our first show by the first. That's our aim. We have everything. Our target date is the first, and we have everything almost together to meet that date. So we're looking forward to it.
No, that's really good. Well, I know probably what will make your holiday even better is if your Cowboys get a win.
Who are you telling?
So for people that don't know, you grew up like 300 miles from Dallas, right?
Yeah, I'm from actually Port Arthur, Texas. Port Arthur, Texas is an
Mhm.
hour from Houston, and it's 45 minutes from Louisiana. So I'm right there on the Gulf of Mexico. I grew up every Sunday going to church. When I get home from church, my grandfather used to force us to watch the Cowboy game. And if you know anything about the Cowboys back in the day, there's only one show that came on after, and that was John Wayne. So we
Mhm.
used to watch Cowboy games and John Wayne all growing up, and Cowboys has always been my team.
Gotcha. So you've been riding with them through like the Super Bowl era, through like the drought, and now they're like up again.
I'm just starting to heal.
You're
All
just
these
starting to heal.
all these years we sucked, and I've been bruised up, and I've been taking it like a man. I've been taking it on the chin. Everybody been killing my team, but we've been good the last couple of years. We just got to get over this hump. And the reason why a lot of people be on the Cowboys because they used to us being the championship team, and
Yes.
we haven't been that.
So we'll kind of go through. So obviously they're taking on the Seahawks. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually a Seahawks fan. So this makes it even more interesting. So well, let's go pound for pound. Like if you had to choose Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, who you going with?
Well, you know me. I'm a loyal guy. I got to go with Dak. I mean, Russ is unbelievable, man. Russ has done a lot in his career. Super Bowl champion. He's done a lot, man. And one of my favorite players, a guy from my area, is a Seahawk great. But he hurt his leg, and they not doing too well right now. He's not doing too well with the Seahawks.
Are you talking
But
about Earl?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, Earl's my guy. We're from the same area in the Golden Triangle, and shout out to Earl. I don't like how they handling my guy,
I don't
but
like it
uh,
either.
those guys, him and Richard Sherman are guys I love watching play. I love watching play, but I would go Dak for sure. Dak is younger. I think Dak is starting to come into his own. Not too many people can deal with the pressure of being an NBA quarterback, especially for the Cowboys. Everything
Yeah.
he's dealt with everything like a professional. So I have to go with that.
See, okay, I'm taking my bias completely out of it. So back in my college days, I went on the radio when Tony Romo got hurt and Dak went in, and I was like, this, you just see certain people and they have it. Like you can't really describe it, but like when I saw him, I said, I don't know exactly what it is, but he's got it. Zeke, they had the line, everything was clicking like his rookie season. So then, last year the line gets hurt. I think he really went through a rookie season in his sophomore season. Like he came into the perfect situation. And then this year, like they get rid of Dez. They didn't really have like a true number one at the start of the season. And then you saw, okay, they brought Amari in. Now he's really more comfortable. He has somebody who he can target. So giving Dak all that, Russell and just his ability to stretch the play, like, he's one of those guys, like he's so smart. He has such a high football IQ. And the way Russ gets you is, like Seattle this season, they've really gone to the run, like too much to the run in my opinion, but they're so to the run. But like certain teams, they forget like this dude can literally, he's fast, like he can break off and get you these like 20-yard scampers. He's the best slider in the league. Like his decision making his throwing ability. Like, I have to give him the edge over Dak.
Yeah, and I think what you touched on is very underrated. I think we won a lot of games, and I think we have the record we have now because people underestimate Dak's capability.
Yes.
You know, he's able to get out the pocket and make plays. He's able to score touchdowns now. And I think, like you said, he's starting to understand when to use his feet because I think he was so stuck up, well, I got to be that pocket quarterback. I'm black. Everybody say all we do is run.
Yes.
I want to change the narrative. But he's starting to figure out, hey, you blessed with a talent, you got to use it. You know, and I think he's figured it out now.
No, he definitely is. And then, like, I think, too, it doesn't help having one of the best backs in the league. So let's go. I mean, this is kind of easy. Like, the Seattle, even though they're a running back by committee team, their top back this year is Chris Carson. And then, you know, you have Zeke, who arguably is one of, like, I mean, that was one of the best draft picks they've had in many, many years.
By far.
So do you think, okay, then let's go receiving wise. I mean, that's not even close. Like, Amari Cooper, and this is how, like, Amari, this is how humble of a dude he is. You know, so every week I do my football show and I talk. I think it was one game where I think he caught like 3 touchdowns. It was the overtime game against the Eagles where basically whoever won that game was going to win the division. And I was like, you know, I feel really confident saying, Amari Cooper, if he's not on this team, Dallas doesn't win this game. And he was like, no, like, I really appreciate it, but it was a team effort, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? That showed me a lot about his character. Because most people are like, yeah, you know, gas me. Like, I'm that guy. But
Right.
for him, I told him, I was like, you know, I really respect that. And it does show a lot about your character. But when you came, you revitalized that offense and the defense because now they have a hope. Now, you know, like, you've been on teams where, you know, like, you out there and you're doing it, but you know, like, we're only going to go but so far. And
you need that playmaker.
Exactly. And when they got him, it took the pressure off the whole receiving core because none of those guys were true number one. So they were trying to fill a role that they weren't not really brought in for. So it just made everybody stop pressing. Like Dallas in the beginning of the year, they were pressing. Nothing was coming easy. They were just trying to do too much. Once he came in, everything started to gel. And then they kind of just went off from there. And the defense, like,
Crazy.
What do they call themselves? The hot boys? They're like, we them boys.
We them boys. The good thing about defense, though, that with the whole Cowboys team, really, there is a system-built team.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have the right players in every spot, it ain't gonna work. The only way Amari is able to get his shots down the field is because they got to watch Zeke. The only way Zeke can get his stuff off is they double in and worry about the receivers. So. You know, all that works, and it took the most pressure off Dak. It took the most pressure off Dak because he got somebody he can rely on. Even if that game we won against them was a fluke catch, a tip, and caught, it's still a touchdown. And, you know, and sometimes you need the football guards on your side. But Amari was big for us. That's definitely the biggest move we could have made. And a lot of people was killing us when we made that move, getting up all those first-round picks.
No, I agree. And, you know, at the time, people were like, oh, the Raiders, they finessed Dallas. But when you look at it and you just look at where that team was to where they are now, like stat-wise, energy-wise, swag-wise, like everything just elevated for them after that trade. Okay, this is the matchup I'm really looking forward to watching in game. I'm a huge Bobby Wagner fan. I love Bobby. So who do you think is going to win that matchup between him and Zeke? You think Zeke is going to go off in this game?
I have a feeling that because Seattle does have a good defense and they have a good up front. I honestly feel like that they're going to try to buckle down on Zeke and make Dak win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to try to shut Zeke down. If Zeke do get off, it's going to be in the quick pass game or the screen game. I don't think it's going to be too much. I hope it is on the run. You know, I hope our guys up front are doing the work, but I just don't see them letting coming to Dallas and letting Zeke dominate in Dallas. You know, I think they're going to try to make it different on them. So I'll go Wagner on this one.
Okay, you got Wagner. Okay, defensively, if you had to choose, taking your loyalty out of it, the Seahawks defense overall or the Cowboys defense overall?
Well, I don't think everybody should have the same answer this year without being biased. Cowboy defense has been unbelievable. Cowboy defense is just, out of this world. Even our young cornerbacks and safeties are starting to step up and play. Our front four is unbelievable. if we can keep those young guys together, we looking like the Giants with Lawrence Taylor and all those guys. You know, with the upfront guys we got. So I'm excited about our defense. Our defense is definitely one of the top in the league.
Honestly, I didn't, when they drafted Van Der Esch, I was like, who is this dude from Boise State? Like, I didn't.
Me too.
I was like Skip Bayless. I was like, I don't, like, who is this guy? And then, and this is the thing too, like when you watch sports long enough or you've been around sports, it's not always like the person that's like the top draft pick, they're, they have this expectation. So it's always that guy who kind of falls in the pack, who really is playing with the chip. And the thing I really like about Van Der Esch is I feel like he plays with that intensity and that aggressiveness, but he's very like in control as well. And I love a player that like can be able to channel their emotions at a high level, and yet like it doesn't seem like he's playing out of himself.
And that's one thing I think Greg Popovich for the Spurs do great, and the Cowboys do great. Somewhere in the draft, they find that special player that everybody ain't looking at.
Like
and
why?
He turns out to be a star. You know what I mean? And those type of guys you need to find in the draft, because this guy's been big with us with Sean Lee been hurt all year.
No, he has. And I think too, like, that's why, you can't just look at numbers when you're evaluating people. Like, you really have to, numbers are a part of it, but you got to look at like eye tests. And also too, like, I think why people love you so much and like why you resonate is like you got that dog in you. Like not everybody is cut from that cloth. And for me, I'd rather have a guy who might not have as much talent, but if he has that dog in him, like I'm going to take him every day of the week because I know what he may lack in talent, he's going to make up with in heart.
Exactly. And with a heart and effort. And that's what you can't teach. You can't teach heart and effort, and you're right. Every team needs a guy like that. I think all of the NBA coaches, all the NBA coaches, they always say, you need a Dennis Rodman. You need a Ron Artest. You need a Draymond Green. You need a Steven Jackson. You need a guy like that on your team to get you going. In football, you have guys like that, but you have to find them. And only good teams find guys like that, that come in and be that glue guy, to be that plug guy to come in. Because when you're around professional sports, you learn this, especially with football and basketball. Some players love the sport, and some of them are interested in what it can do for them.
Yep.
And I think, and the guy we're talking about right now, we can tell he loves playing football.
No, I agree. So just curious, total sidebar from all this like football stuff. So did you know when you were playing, like you wanted to get into, like what made you want to get into the, like the media side of things afterward?
Well, with me, I got asked to do it a few times while I was playing. I did TNT one time, and after I did TNT, one of the producers pulled me to the side and said, you should think about doing this after you play. Didn't really pay attention to it. I did it a couple more times with ESPN. As soon as I stopped playing, I think like a month or two after I stopped playing, Rachel Nichols was getting her show, The Jump. And she called me and Tracy McGrady and asked me to come do the show. So I got the opportunity, which was a blessing in disguise, because I didn't say I didn't want to do it, but I didn't have it in my review.
You weren't planning on it.
I wasn't thinking about it at the time. It wasn't in my vision. So I wasn't even thinking about that. I had other things going on, the big three, acting, had my kids. I had other things going on at the time. So, but when it came, it was a blessing in disguise because I love being in front of the camera. I really love basketball with a passion. And I like being able to talk about things that I know. I've never been the guy to open my mouth, raise my hand, and stand up and say something about a subject I have no knowledge about. So being able to talk about basketball, being able to talk about music and the culture now, which is how we're going to do it on my show, it's a blessing to be in this space, because not only am I talking about what I know, but I know a lot of stuff I say, I'm giving a lot of game to a lot of people just like me, and they won't get that on TV.
No, and I think that's why, like, when you and Matt were like, oh, we're doing our live, I was like, this is so good because, and no shade to like network TV, but it's a lot of, similar personalities, a lot of viewpoints. And I think, especially if you're going to be talking about anything, whether it be sports, you got to have somebody that like played at that level that really understands not only like the X's and O's, but, locker room culture, like, what stays in a locker room, why certain things don't get out, like team dynamics. And that's one thing that I think is really lacking in the media space. And that's why I really wanted to get into it, because, there's all these people talking about it, but it's like, well, shouldn't we talk to the people that were there or have been there, because they have the most knowledge and insight. Like for me, I mean, I could talk football all day long, but I've never lined up on the field. So I want to be able to like play and hear the perspective of somebody who played at the highest level. So that way it makes my analysis better, and it just makes like fans feel more like well-rounded, you know?
Well, one thing I can tell right now, and what's easy to see about you, and I've been around a lot of people. I done did almost every show. A lot of people, even that's on TV every day, they ain't as passionate as you. See, like you can, like I can sit there and have a conversation with them, but it'll be dry as hell because they really, they really don't care about it. They do it because it's their job. See, I can tell you got passion in this. Like they, like any person that was trying to do this and really didn't believe in themselves or really didn't care about it, they wouldn't have the balls to say, to DM someone and say, hey, I want to go live with you. But the fact, and it's an old saying, you only make the shots you take.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can tell you passionate about it, and that's why I want you to win, and that's why I hope you succeed in it, because I've been around this business, and it's a lot of fake stuff. I've seen fake stories. You know, I've been on ESPN where I'm sitting next to somebody acting like they breaking news, and it's a fake story, and the person they talk about is texting my phone.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And I got to correct it. So it has to be people in this space, and you don't have to go as far as say play, but you got to have that passion for it.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're talking about, and you got to love what you're talking about. You can't just be doing it for a check or sitting in the computer crunching numbers thinking you know everything about the game. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't work. It got to mean something to you. And people that play the game can see the passion when we talk to people about it.
Mm-hmm. And that's like for me, you know, like a lot of people see me and they're like, well, how have you been able to get these people? But it's like, you know, I think, you know, like it's definitely God. Shout out to God. But, you know, it's like that passion and that, like, you know, I try to come from a perspective because, you know, like I played sports my whole life. I was a 2-sport athlete in college. So, like, I understand, you know, a lot of, like, what goes into being an athlete and a lot of, like, the sensitivities around athletes. And that's the thing that I think gets lost with a lot of the media members is, like, well, you want all this. You want them to, like, pour out their heart and soul. And it's like, it has to be like a two-way street. It can't just be like you're using them for a scoop.
Exactly.
And then like 2 days later, like, yeah, Steven, thank you for this scoop. And then Steven, you know, he did this X, Y, Z, you know, like it can't be like that. So like you know, who I kind of like one of my idols in, you know, this business was like Stuart Scott. You know, I think he was so like revolutionary and just even like you said, culture, like sports is not just, you know, playing, it's music, it's fashion, like it's all these things like leveled into it, which is why I think your show is going to be so dope. And if you ever need, you know, a host, just let me know.
Well, the fact that you had me on, it's only right that I return the favor. So as soon as the show starts, you got to come out to Cali. We definitely gonna have you on.
I'm in San Diego.
Huh?
I'm in San Diego.
Are you right down the street? So it works. We're gonna be right there in LA. Perfect.
Okay, back to that was good. Okay, so back to some Cowboys stuff. So I'm guessing you're picking the Cowboys to win. Do you think it's going to be a close game?
Well, I don't want it to be because we've been known to get up, start off good, making plays. Second half, we stop playing and we clock watch. Hurry up, clock run out. When we stopped being aggressive. And then we lost a lot of games like that, lost a lot of playoff games like that. So if we can find a way to be aggressive for 4 quarters, I would like that in a blowout. But if it's not a blowout, at least it's not a stressful game.
You know what's interesting? Like when I look at both teams, they play a very similar style of like Seattle, since they've transitioned to this whole like run game, controlling the clock, run it down your throat, like do it some more. Dallas, that's really been their MO the last couple of years where it's like, you know, take, you know, good 5-7 minute drives, keep, you know, the offense, you know, going, don't have to do too much. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win the clock battle. I think that's really who's going to win the game because both teams, in order to be successful, have to control the rhythm. So I think whichever team's going to have to play off balance, they're going to struggle.
And I've seen that, and that's scary you said that because it seems like it seems like Seattle comes in Dallas and control the clock. That ain't looking good for us. So you said that right. The team who wins the clock is definitely going to dominate. But if Seattle controls